For a long time, I believe thoughtfulness was always a leadership strength. Take your time. Consider every single angle. Be fair, be measured, and often that's right. But over thousands of coaching hours with executives and founders, I've noticed something else. Sometimes what we call thoughtfulness is actually delay. You'll hear it in phrases like, I just need more time. I don't want to rush it. I'm trying to be considerate. Sometimes that is wisdom. And sometimes it's unnecessary self-protection. And the difference? Well, it makes all the difference. The avoidance rarely looks dramatic. It doesn't look like someone running away from responsibility. It looks reasonable, looks strategic, sounds intelligent. And that's exactly why it survives, because it passes as professionalism. Most of the leaders I work with aren't circling a decision because they lack skill. They're circling it because they're predicting loss already. Loss of approval or loss of alignment, loss of influence, loss of being perceived the way they want to be perceived. And once the mind predicts that loss, well, the mind is very creative. It says more research, better timing, another meeting. Let's revisit this next quarter. All defensible and all postponement. So here's the uncomfortable question. What would happen if you just stayed? Not aggressive, not necessarily blunt, not performative, just present. Presence has edges. Presence risks being misunderstood, risks not being liked, risks discovering there isn't a clean outcome or not the one I thought of. So that's where most professionals hesitate, because staying requires tolerating that tension, not resolving it immediately, not smoothing it over, not managing everyone else's reactions, just holding your ground long enough for clarity to emerge. And there's a difference between being thoughtful and being unwilling. See, thoughtfulness sharpens decisions. Avoidance softens them. Over time, softened clarity erodes trust. Not because you're careless, not because you're protecting yourself necessarily. And in leadership roles, it becomes expensive. Feedback gets diluted, decisions drift, standards blur, and everybody feels it. So even if no one names it, something else I've noticed in coaching conversations is that people don't usually avoid hard conversations because they lack communication skills. They avoid them because they're already calculating the relational costs, what this might do to the relationship, what it might do to my reputation, what this is going to do in my standing in the room. And when that calculation is running in the background, something subtle happens. The message gets softened or delayed, or wrapped in so much context that the real point disappears. And the irony is that clarity builds more trust, and avoidance never will. So even when conversation is uncomfortable, if there's a decision that you keep circling, or feedback that you've been softening, or a conversation you keep telling yourself you're going to have later, it might be worth asking a different question. Not, do I have the perfect wording, but am I willing to stay present long enough for the truth to be said clearly? Because leadership present isn't comfort. It's capacity. Capacity to stay, capacity to hold tension, capacity to be clear even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. That's where trust actually grows. So let me know how you're staying more present in your meetings, in your conversations, and with yourself.